take your seat. The program will be starting in 1 minute, so please find your seat. And thank you very much and welcome at Renaissance Pattaya. Wow, quiet, silence. Friday afternoon. Very warm welcome back. This is the afternoon session of the EEC Business Forum 2021. Thank you for all the online viewers who also logged in again. And of course to you, physical guests in this beautiful Renaissance Pattaya, for joining us for the afternoon session. And when I say afternoon session, we have some more information to share with you, more information than we already did when we opened up yesterday at Deepa's office. Let me recap a little bit what the EEC Business Forum is all about. When we started discussing the EEC Business Forum, we came up with the title of Reconnecting and Reconnectivity. And I think that is what we are doing. And I see that already in, let's say, the one-on-one conversations. And it seems we all crave for this kind of physical events, that we finally can look into each other's eyes rather than having a screen in between. So that's already a good start. I also noticed that the connectivity agenda is high on Thailand's 4.0 agenda. Connectivity in many senses, in the digital way, but also connectivity. Probably most of you coming from Bangkok has experienced the extended highway number 7. What great it is. It saves you half an hour getting into Yom Tien Beach, for example. But we also learned from the presenters yesterday at the IPA office what the connectivity is for harbors like Lam Chabang and how the future will look after the expansion with phase 3. This morning we learned from Dr. Luxmon what the EEC office has in mind and what the future will look for the EEC area, also with a connectivity element in there. After that we had a presentation about Utapao as a city airport and what an airport can bring as connectivity and connecting the world. So I think the theme is well chosen. And this is something, again, let me reiterate, under the umbrella of the Joint Foreign Chamber, we as the Netherlands Thai Chamber are the organizer, but we do this in collaboration with many partners. And many of those partners are here. The EEC office, BUI, the Board of Trade, everybody in, let's say, the international business arena is, let's say, partner in this kind of business forum. So we thank all our partners. And we thank everybody who contributed, also our colleagues of other chambers, who has also volunteered to be here and also asked their members to join. And we hope we will not let you down in the quality of the presentations and in the speaking opportunities we have for our panelists. So for this afternoon, we have 2 sessions. We try to round it off around 6 o'clock. Because I know you're all craving for this networking event as well, which starts at 6 o'clock at the deck not far away from here, which is actually near the beach area. And the GM promised me that it will not rain. Right, Dennis? Okay. Let's wait and see for that. All right. This kind of events, again, will not be made possible from, let's say, a sponsorship, but also a partnership. And we have great partners and sponsors here. Let me first ask you all for a round of applause of TCEB, which is the Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau, for making this kind of events possible. So can I ask you kindly for a round of applause?
These days, a diverse range of business problems that involve production, innovation, and services can be solved through MICE Business. Meetings, incentive trips, conventions, exhibitions, mega events and world festivals. At present, over 8,000 international meetings and exhibitions take place annually in Thailand. The number of domestic and international MICE travelers attending events in Thailand averages 30 million per year, generating over 5 billion baht in revenue and accounting for 3.27% of the country's GDP. Up to 320,000 people are employed. MICE events provide a stage for business exchanges and inspire entrepreneurs to exchange ideas and develop business. Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau Public Organization, or TCEB, is a government agency under the supervision of the Prime Minister. We are a strategic partner to help drive MICE business and mega events and world festivals in Thailand. TCEB provides MICE information to the private and government sectors, as well as students and the general public. It also provides facilities for those who would like to exhibit goods and hold meetings. By cooperating with all partners in order to drive MICE events to be a stage where business opportunities and business investment can be discussed. With this in mind, TCEB sets its principal goals as follows: developing the economy by bringing international events to Thailand, as well as creating jobs and events in every province. Organizing marketing activities and creating a positive image of Thailand for all nations to recognize that Thailand is the prime destination of choice for international MICE events. Developing all aspects of organizing business events, facilitating product imports, visa applications, as well as offering a special MICE lane at immigration checkpoints for MICE participants and preparing MICE manuals. Distributing income to all sectors by providing knowledge, giving advice to create more jobs, and harnessing the strength and uniqueness of local communities. Developing venue standards with hygiene guidelines, as well as enhancing the skills of entrepreneurs and staff in order to organize events smoothly. Using innovation and information to support events efficiently and organize them more conveniently. Following these guidelines, Thailand can be a renowned center for organizing business events that use innovation to drive the nation's economy on par with worldwide trends. TCEB develops and supports all types of business to build trade and investment opportunities, as well as expand Thai products and services, to become well known internationally and distribute prosperity to every province. Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau drives MICE to ensure Thailand's economy grows sustainably.
Thank you, TCEB, for your kind support as always. Next in line would be our sponsor, Signify. We are extremely pleased to have the team of Signify here as well, being one of our major sponsors for the EEC Business Forum. Can we please have the video for Signify? That was the end, I guess. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Next, you might have asked yourself, what are those devices in front? The viral power cleaning devices, cleaning the air we breathe with UVC lighting techniques from the Netherlands. So we also would like to show their video and thank them for being a sponsor for this event too. Thank you very much, and a round of applause for keeping us healthy. Okay. And last but certainly not least, our sponsor, our friends from Upbeat Trailers. You might have seen outside parked a very nice car, but a more nicer trailer. We also have a video to show of Upbeat Trailers. I think, Harry, you're in the back of the room? Yeah? All right. Can I see the video, please? Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Upbeat Trailers and all the other amazing sponsors for today's event. And please do walk by their booth and get their leaflets and other information. Because of them, we can organize this event. So thank to all the sponsors for today. All right, we will move on to the welcome speeches of our friends and delegates sitting in the front row. We are extremely pleased to have a nice range again of organizations who are supporting the EEC area and the EEC Business Forum. And the first speaker I would like to ask to come here would be the Deputy Mayor of Pattaya City, Kun Wuttisak. So Kun Wuttisak, if you would like to give your welcome address and a round of applause. Kun Wuttisak, you're more than welcome to come here. And then Kun Sommawan, my colleague as Executive Director of the Franco-Thai, will, after Kun Wuttisak pass her Angrit speech, translate a few notes in the Thai language.
สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon. Dear Kun Stanley Kang, Chairman of Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand. Kun Chiruit Isarankun Ayuttaya, President of Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau. Kun Luxmon Attapich, Deputy Secretary General of Eastern Economic Corridor Office of Thailand. Kun Suvimol, Toungvutigul, Vice President of Chonburi Chamber of Commerce. Kun Denis, Richter, General Manager of Renaissance Pattaya Hotel, Resort and Spa. Distinguished guest press, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wuttisak, Rermkitkarn, Deputy Mayor of Pattaya City. It is my pleasure to be here at the EEC Business Forum Reconnecting International Business with Thai Eastern Economic Corridor, representing the local governmental agency in Chonburi Province. Pattaya City and Chonburi is the world-famous tourist destination for Thai and international travelers for many years. Thanks to its lively seaside city atmosphere, beautiful beaches, various available tourism activity, hotel and convention venue with international standard, as well as its comprehensive factory. With this capability, the city able to welcome a wide range group of visitors, both tourists and investors from all around the world, who would like experience the beauty and modernity of Pattaya. Representing Chonburi, Pattaya is also known as Sport City and is considered as one of the my city in Thailand. It is planned to be a center of Eastern Economic Corridor in every aspect, especially the international trade and investment. The area has also been being developed under Neo Pattaya policy to serve its continuous economic growth. The EEC is an area with high economic potential. It is situated nearby Bangkok, the capital city of Thailand, a center of country and religion. The area is well connected to Bangkok thanks to the intercity motorway and high-speed rail project, linking the international airport, Don Mueang, Suvarnabhumi, and Uttapao together. Lam Chabang Port, which is one of the commercial ports in Thailand, is also situated in the area. The EEC will be economic zone with emphasis on the value-based industry, such as automation and robotic, aviation, logistics, biofuel, and biochemical. Its digital infrastructure and innovation are aimed to be utilized for smart city development. Increasing the efficiency of city administration and the local quality of life. When combining these prospects with Pattaya status as well recognized tourist destination as previously described. The EEC is hence an area with high potential for investors. We are looking for new business opportunity. Not just being modern tourist city, generating a great revenue stream for Thailand and a heart of EEC. Pattaya also have many unseen community-based tourist attractions waiting to be explored for execution. For example, Naga community is where the traditional lifestyle and culture, including local fishing and cuisine, are well preserved. It is also a home of the lush mangrove forest in Pattaya. The Kente community is an area known for coconut plantation. It offers reception and activity for visitors to choose from, such as bicycle tour and coconut coffee tasting. At the nursery Chagnel Chinese community, a popular training center of Chinese and Thai in the past, has also now turned to be a culture and intercultural activation, welcoming tourists every Saturday evening, and more. In this occasion, I also would like to update distinct grace about the Pattaya Move On plan. Extending from the Phuket Sandbox project, Thailand is preparing to open its country for tourism without a quality requirement. The first 5 provinces, which are Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phetchaburi, Prachuapkhiriขัน, and Chonburi, are working toward the D-Day on the 1st of November. 2 districts in Chonburi which will be open for international tourists are Banglamung and Sattahip district. International tourists who would like to visit Chonburi in this year loose program must follow the guidelines as introduced by the Ministry of Health to prevent the COVID infection and transmission. Apart from this, Pattaya City is also preparing for the upcoming festival plan in the last quarter of 2021, such as Pattaya Music Festival, Pattaya Lakathong Festival, Pattaya International Fireworks Festival, Naga Walking Street Festival, and Pattaya Countdown Festival. These are to assure that Pattaya and Chonburi is ready welcome tourists following the announcement of the Pattaya Move On scheme. Lastly, I would like to thank the organizing committee for hosting this event in Chonburi and discuss guests and press for attending the program. I sincerely hope this Business Forum will be a good starting point for future development of trade and investment, as well as tourism in Chonburi. Thank you.
ข ขอบพระคุณมากค่ะท่านวุฒิศักดิ์นะคะสมมติจะขออนุญาตนะคะแปลสรุปนะคะประเด็นที่ท่านได้กล่าวนะคะเมื่อสักครู่ค่ะท่านวุฒิศักดิ์เริ่มกิจการรองนายกเมืองพัทยานะคะท่านได้กล่าวว่าเมืองพัทยานะคะอย่างที่ทุกท่านทราบว่าตั้งอยู่ในจังหวัดชลบุรีนะคะเป็นเมืองท่องเที่ยวชายทะเลที่เป็นชื่อที่เป็นที่รู้จักมีชื่อเสียงระดับโลกนะคะแต่นอกจากนั้นก็ยังเป็นเมืองที่มีความใกล้ชิดนะคะสนิทสนมกับส่วน EEC ซึ่งมีโครงการที่น่าสนใจมากมายนะคะนอกจากนั้นท่านยังได้กล่าวถึงนะคะว่านอกจากพัทยาที่จะมีชายหาดมีศูนย์กลางต่างๆแล้วเนี่ยยังมีแหล่งท่องเที่ยวชุมชนนะคะที่น่าสนใจไม่ว่าจะเป็นชุมชนประมงพื้นบ้านที่นาเกลือชุมชนสวนมะพร้าวตะเคียนเตี้ยหรือว่าชุมชนตลาดจีนโบราณซากแง้วนะคะนอกจากนั้นท่านยังได้กล่าวว่าพัทยาเนี่ยยังเป็นเมืองสปอร์ตซิตี้นะคะเป็นเมืองไมซิตี้เป็นศูนย์กลางของเขตพัฒนาต่างๆนะคะแล้วก็มีการพัฒนาพื้นที่อย่างต่อเนื่องภายใต้นโยบายนะคะนีโอพัทยาค่ะนอกจากนั้นท่านยังได้กล่าวถึงโครงการพัทยา Move On ซึ่งเป็นส่วนขยายจากภูเก็ตแซนด์บ็อกซ์นะคะที่จะเปิดรับนักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาติโดยไม่ต้องกักตัวตั้งแต่วันที่1พฤศจิกายนนะคะโดยที่จะเริ่มเปิดจาก2อำเภอก่อนก็คืออำเภอบางละมุงและอำเภอสัตหีบนะคะในรูปแบบ Seal Area นะคะนอกจากนั้นท่านยังได้แนะนำนะคะกิจกรรมต่างๆที่จะเป็นกิจกรรมท่องเที่ยวในไตรมาสที่4ของปีนะคะแล้วก็หวังว่าจะได้ต้อนรับนักท่องเที่ยวทุกท่านสู่พัทยาค่ะ
Thank you, Kun Sommawan. And we'll move on to our next speaker, the President of the Joint Foreign Chamber of Thailand, Mr. Stanley Kang. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Hans. And dear Mr. Wuttisak, welcome Deputy Mayor of the Pattaya City. Mr. Chiruut Isarankun Ayuttaya, President of the Thailand Convention Exhibition Bureau. Dr. Luxmon, Deputy Secretary General of the Eastern Economic Corridor Office of Thailand, EECo. Ms. Suvimol Toungvutigul, Vice President of the Chonburi Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Denis, Richter, General Manager of the Renaissance Pattaya Hotel, Resort and Spa. Distinguished guests and media representatives. Good afternoon. My name is Stanley Kang, the Chairman of the Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, JFCCT. I'm very pleased and honored to be here at the event organized by the National Thai Chamber of Commerce on behalf of the JFCCT, supported by the TCEB. The Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand was established in 1976 and have been serving the foreign business community for over 40 years. There are 33 foreign Chamber of Commerce and Business Associations, representing some 9,000 companies. Many of them are SMEs in the wide membership. Our mission is to promote trade and foreign investment and to encourage the development and transfer of skill in overall aiming to contribute to the economy in which we live and work. The Eastern Economic Corridor is an area with high economic potential. Believing so, the JFCCT has launched the first EEC Business Forum last year in 2020 in Royong, aimed to connect our foreign business network and communities to local businesses in EEC and also to update the potential investor both in Thailand and abroad on the area of latest development. The event was successfully organized with more than 130 guests attending. In this year, we are back again, but in Chonburi, under the theme of Reconnecting International Business with the Thai Eastern Economic Corridor. Our three-day program consists of an update on Thailand Digital Valley and Lanchapang Port we learned yesterday, an overall update of the EEC and Utapao International Airport early in this morning, a panel discussion and sunset networking, which will be followed shortly after this welcome speech program. And lastly, at the Takhan Thai community tomorrow morning. You can still sign up for this. Our members who are bilateral Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, are very excited and keen to be back in order to reconnect with the local business and key stakeholders once again. In accordance with the theme of the Reconnecting International Business with the Thai Eastern Economic Corridor, the EEC is become a hub that connects Thai economic to the region and eventually to the global value chain. This event could not have happened without the generosity of the main partners, the Thailand Conventional and Exhibition Bureau, TCEB, and of course the support from the Eastern Economic Corridor Office, EEC, Digital Economic Promotion Agency, DEPA, Chonburi Province, Pattaya City, our sponsor Signify, Vivo Power, and UPBI. Especially thanks to the team of organizers from the Netherlands Thai Chamber of Commerce and all other supporting chambers making this second edition EEC Business Forum a success. Thank you all for your support. I wish you a marvelous evening and that this event will be success in all of its objectives. Thank you very much.
ขอบพระคุณค่ะคุณสแตนเล่นะคะคุณสแตนเล่คังประธานหอการค้าร่วมต่างประเทศในประเทศไทยหรือว่า JFCCT นะคะท่านมีความเป็นยินดีเป็นอย่างมากนะคะที่ได้มาร่วมในวันนี้นะคะในฐานะที่เป็นผู้จัดงานนะคะของ Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce แล้วก็งานที่จัดโดยเนเธอร์แลนด์ไทยนะคะJoint Foreign Chamber of Commerce ประกอบไปด้วยหอการค้าต่างประเทศ33หอการค้านะคะมีสมาชิกทั้งหมด 9,000 บริษัทแล้วก็ตั้งอยู่มากกว่า40ปีแล้วนะคะในส่วนของ EEC Business Forum ในครั้งนี้จัดเป็นครั้งที่2นะคะปีที่แล้วเนี่ยเราจัดแล้วครั้งแรกที่ระยองนะคะมีผู้เข้าร่วมถึง130กว่าคนนะคะปีนี้เราก็เลยรู้สึกว่าเราจะต้องกลับมาอีกเนื่องจาก EEC เนี่ยถือว่าเป็นเขตพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจพิเศษซึ่งมีความน่าสนใจนะคะแล้วก็เป็นที่น่าสนใจของนักลงทุนจากต่างชาตินะคะจากทั่วโลกเลยนะคะปีนี้งานที่แตกต่างจากปีที่แล้วก็คือปีนี้เราจัด3วันด้วยกันก็คือเมื่อวานนี้ที่มีไปที่ดีพาดิจิทัลวัลเลย์นะคะแล้วก็ไปที่ท่าเรือแหลมฉบังนะคะวันนี้ก็มีการบรรยายสรุปจากทาง EEC นะคะแล้วก็จากทางAirport City นะคะนอกเหนือจากนั้นนะคะวันพรุ่งนี้ก็ยังมีกิจกรรมวิถีชุมชนที่ชุมชนตะเคียนใต้ด้วยนะคะตะเคียนเตี้ยด้วยค่ะถ้าเกิดทุกท่านสนใจก็สามารถลงทะเบียนได้นะคะแล้วก็ท่านก็ยังขอบคุณพันธมิตรและสปอนเซอร์ที่อยู่เบื้องหลังความสำเร็จในการจัดงานครั้งนี้ด้วยค่ะ
Thank you very much. May I then kindly ask Kun Chiruut Isarankun na Ayuttaya, the president of TCEB, for his welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, Kun Chiruut.
สวัสดีครับ Mr. Wuttisak เริ่มกิจการ Deputy Mayor of Pattaya City, Mr. Stanley Kang, the Chairman of JFCCT, Dr. Luxmon Attapich ขอโทษนะครับ Deputy Secretary General of EEC Office, Ms. Suvimol Toungvutigul, Vice President of Chonburi Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Denis Richter, the GM of Renaissance Pattaya Hotel. Good afternoon, สวัสดีครับ I must first thank the Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce and in particular the Netherlands Thai Chamber of Commerce to lead this very valuable business event. As a national Convention Bureau, my gratitude goes to all involved parties for your fighting spirit and commitment for the good of Thailand's future. With our cooperation, we have organized 8 of such encouraging events in Rayong, Chiang Mai, Phuket, and Khon Kaen. And now it is the second time for the EEC area in Pattaya, which is active My City, providing with international standard facilities and, of course, the unlimited business opportunities. I'm saying so because it was just early this month when EEC reported that the cumulated of BOI promoted investment value already reached 1.6 trillion baht. The demand for investment is so strong that the EEC board decided to set a new investment target from 1.7 to 2.2 trillion baht. And I'm sure that this is right because we have the head of EEC here. I think you all agree that amid the present global disruption, it is very rare to find such an encouraging an environment like EEC here. Now that we are seeing the rapid improvement of travel situation, Thailand is opening wider with little requirement. While the UK this morning replaced the expensive PRC test by a cheaper and faster testing product to stimulate travel. So with all of this, I believe there will be more relaxing environment, and it will be strong trend from now. And since business opportunity and MICE activity are both in the same supply chain, I see a stronger complementary between them. Here in the EEC, we have both the opportunities and travel is closer to normal. So on behalf of TCEB, Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau, I think it is such a right timing for us all to tighten our cooperation, and we are committed to working with you for the benefit of ourselves, our country, and our societies. Thank you very much.
ขอบพระคุณท่านจิรุตนะคะค่ะคุณจิรุตอิสรังกุลอยุธยานะคะผู้อำนวยการสำนักงานส่งเสริมการประชุมและนิทรรศการนะคะองค์การมหาชนหรือว่า TCEB นะคะท่านได้กล่าวว่าท่านขอบคุณผู้จัดงานนะคะโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งทางหอการค้าเนเธอร์แลนด์ไทยนะคะแล้วก็หอการค้าร่วมต่างประเทศในประเทศไทยนะคะที่ได้จัดงาน EEC ครั้งนี้เป็นครั้งที่2นะคะยังได้กล่าวว่าด้วยความร่วมมือระหว่าง JFCCT กับTCEB เนี่ยค่ะเราได้จัดงาน Business Forum เนี่ยหลายครั้งแล้วนะคะเป็น8ครั้งด้วยกันแล้วก็ใน4 ถึง 5 จังหวัดนะคะแล้วก็ในส่วนของ EEC ในครั้งนี้เนี่ยนะคะท่านยังได้กล่าวถึงความสำคัญนะคะแล้วก็ความน่าสนใจของ EEC นะคะโดยเฉพาะท่านได้กล่าวถึงมูลค่าการลงทุนของ EEC ซึ่งได้ประกาศเมื่อต้นเดือนนี้นะคะว่ามีมูลค่าการลงทุนโดยรวมถึง 1.6 ล้านบาทนะคะแล้วก็ด้วยความสำเร็จในครั้งนี้ก็เลยมีการเพิ่มเป้าหมายนะคะในเรื่องของการลงทุนให้เป็นช่วงถึง 1.7 ล้านหรือ 2.2 ล้านนะคะซึ่งเป็นตัวเลขที่น่าสนใจมากๆนะคะท่านก็เลยหวังเป็นอย่างยิ่งว่าจะได้มีความร่วมมือนะคะเพิ่มเติมมากขึ้นนะคะใน EEC นะคะขอบพระคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much. We already learned from her this morning, but we have asked Dr. Luxmon to say a few welcome words on behalf of the EEC office as well. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Dr. Luxmon.
Sawadika. See you again in the afternoon. ท่านรองนายกเมืองพัทยาวุฒิศักดิ์ค่ะคุณ Stanley and คุณจิรุต of TCEB และคุณสุวิมล of the Chamber of Commerce ค่ะ This is I think among the first events that I get to be here in person and to meet with business community. It is a very good event actually, and it is in a very good town of Pattaya. Pattaya is a very important town in EEC area. Very exciting projects are going on in Pattaya, and next year I'm sure you will see many more interesting projects in Pattaya. So this morning I already talked about the progress of EEC, our 3 types of infrastructure: transport infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and R&D innovation infrastructure. So you have already seen the progress that we have done so far. Many more to be continued next year and the years to come. And also we talk about our targeted industries, and I would like to re-emphasize again the 3+1 clusters of business opportunities for our international friends. The health and well-being, digital, decarbonization, very important these days, and logistics advantage of EEC. And Kun Chiruut talked about the investment figures of the EEC. So actually the 1.6, 1.7 million includes investment in infrastructure and investment from all of you, business communities in the EEC. I'm very glad to report that the first half of this year, if we look at the BOI application for investment promotion from business communities, already the figures rise more than 50% from the same period of last year. So we are very confident of the EEC business opportunities going forward. I got a question from the press asking about what kind of investment, which sectors. I would be very happy to report that it coincides with our clusters because the increase in investment in medical sector is a lot, really. And then we see a lot of investment in smart electronics, which is our digital sector. And also decarbonization sector, we have a lot of investment in automotive sector as well. So these are the leading sectors this year. So I'm just like to end my speech here, and I hope you have a very fruitful gathering, exchange of knowledge and exchange of views today, and enjoy your day tomorrow in Pattaya. Thank you.
ขอบคุณมากค่ะดร.ลักษมน อัฏฐาพิษนะคะรองเลขาธิการสำนักงานคณะกรรมการนโยบายเขตพัฒนาพิเศษภาคตะวันออกหรือว่า EEC นะคะท่านก็ได้กล่าวว่าในส่วนของเมื่อเช้าที่ท่านได้กล่าวไปก็คือในเรื่องของอุตสาหกรรมที่ทาง EEC เน้นนะคะก็คือจะเน้นในเรื่องของ3หลักด้วยกันก็คือเรื่องโครงสร้างพื้นฐานของการขนส่งนะคะโครงสร้างพื้นฐานของทางด้านดิจิทัลแล้วก็ในเรื่องของ R&D ก็คือในเรื่องของการวิจัยนวัตกรรมต่างๆนะคะแล้วนอกเหนือจากนั้นเนี่ยค่ะเมื่อพูดถึง EEC ทุกท่านก็จะคิดถึงตัว Focus Industry ที่มีอยู่12อุตสาหกรรมด้วยกันนะคะแต่ท่านก็ได้เน้นว่าใน12อุตสาหกรรมเนี่ยได้รวมเป็นคลัสเตอร์ที่เรียกว่า 3+1 นะคะ 3+1 คลัสเตอร์เนี่ยก็คือเรื่องแรกก็จะเป็นในเรื่องของ health and well-being นะคะเรื่องสุขภาพนะคะเรื่องดิจิทัลนะคะเรื่องที่3ก็เป็น decarbonization ก็คือการลดการปล่อยก๊าซเรือนกระจกนะคะหรือว่า BCG ก็คือ biocircular green economy นะคะเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวนอกจากนั้นท่านก็ยังได้กล่าวว่าอีก1คลัสเตอร์ก็คือ logistics นะคะแล้วก็ทั้งหมดทั้งมวลเนี่ยค่ะท่านก็ยังได้ตอบคำถามของสื่อมวลชนว่าอุตสาหกรรมไหนที่ทาง EEC เนี่ยเน้นเป็นพิเศษนะคะท่านก็ยังกล่าวว่าแน่นอนก็ยังอยู่ใน 3+1 คลัสเตอร์ตัวนี้นะคะที่ไม่ว่าจะเป็นในเรื่องของ automotive หรือว่าในเรื่องต่างๆค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much. When I talk about the local stakeholders and the support we receive, I'm extremely happy to have also the representative of the Chonburi Chamber of Commerce, Kun Suvimol, if you would like to come here for your welcome speech. And round of applause.
Good afternoon. Kun Wuttisak, Rermkitkarn, Deputy Mayor of Pattaya, Mr. Stanley Kang, Chairman of JFCCT, Mr. Chiruut, Isarankun, Ayuttaya, President of Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau, Dr. Luxmon, Attapich, Deputy Secretary General of the EEC Office, Mr. Denis, Richter, GM of the Renaissance Pattaya Hotel. Distinguished guests, please, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Chonburi Chamber of Commerce, it's the great opportunities of us for local members to be in touch with the foreign business community and potential investor during this event. Our vision is to drive and develop Chonburi in 5 major parts: innovation, economy, social, culture, and education. The Chonburi Chamber of Commerce consists of total 180 members. Our members cover varieties of industry and sectors, range of all type of scale. We are very well established private sector that works very closely with our local and Thailand government. Mentioning about Chonburi, our province GDP is accounted for 6.4% of Thailand GDP. When combining with Chachoengsao and Rayong, we are accounting for 14.7% of the country's GDP. This number will grow even higher with companies in innovative and value-based industries established within this area, offering more business opportunities and more jobs to the local. Under the EEC development scheme, we believe it's promising. We would like to thank the organizer party who invite us to this event. We wish that many business connections start during this forum will keep continuing delivering in the future a strong tide between international business community and local business in Chonburi and EEC. We hope that this is the great move of Chonburi's economy in the near future, and this event will be successful according to the organizers' proposed. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากค่ะคุณสุวิมลตวงวุฒิกุลรองประธานหอการค้าจังหวัดชลบุรีนะคะท่านได้กล่าวว่าหอการค้าจังหวัดชลบุรีเนี่ยมีสมาชิก175บริษัทนะคะครอบคลุมในทุกอุตสาหกรรมนะคะท่านมีความยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่ได้เข้าร่วมนะคะกิจกรรมในวันนี้แล้วก็ได้นำสมาชิกนะคะเข้ามาทำความรู้จักกับชุมชนนักธุรกิจต่างชาตินะคะวิสัยทัศน์ของหอการค้าจังหวัดชลบุรีคือต้องการที่จะเป็นผู้นำการขับเคลื่อนจังหวัดนะคะใน5ด้านด้วยกันได้แก่นวัตกรรมเศรษฐกิจสังคมวัฒนธรรมและการศึกษานะคะจังหวัดชลบุรีสร้างรายได้ให้กับประเทศอยู่ที่ 6.4% ของ GDP นะคะของประเทศไทยแล้วก็เมื่อรวมกับฉะเชิงเทราและระยองแล้วเนี่ย GDP ก็จะเกือบประมาณ 15% ของ GDP ของประเทศเลยนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นถือว่า EEC เนี่ยเข้ามามีส่วนนะคะสำคัญในการพัฒนาจังหวัดมากๆเลยนะคะท่านหวังว่าการจัดงานครั้งนี้จะนำไปสู่การสร้างความสัมพันธ์อันดีระหว่างชุมชนนักธุรกิจต่างชาติแล้วก็ชุมชนนักธุรกิจของชลบุรีนะคะแล้วก็ในภาคตะวันออกค่ะแล้วก็หวังว่าจะได้ทำงานร่วมมือกันอย่างใกล้ชิดในโอกาสต่อไปค่ะ
Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, where would we be without such a great venue? So we have Denis Richter, the general manager of the Renaissance Pattaya Hotel, Resort and Spa with us, who also will like to say a few welcome words to us. Denis, if you're ready, thank you very much. A round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Sawadee-kap. Dear distinguished guests, members of the various chambers here, members of the press, friends, it is a pleasure for us to be able to host this event for you today. It has been many months since we were able to see so many guests, actually people in one room together. We follow all our social distancing, but the last couple of months were for most of us video conferences, webinars, Zoom calls and the rest. So we're all hugely inspired to see that everybody is ready to come out again. And as we heard in some of the welcome speeches today, we are up for good news. Lots of changes are coming. The country is slowly reopening. COVID numbers are reducing. We are all getting ready to come back to business. And I think with the new regulations, with the new sanitation protocols in place, with new social distancing rules in place, I think the country is on the way up. I think tourism is bound to rebound. It has been way too long for our part of the business that people have been suffering. Colleagues of mine, guests were not ready to travel. We had multiple lockdowns this year. And we are all truly inspired by what is happening right now. Thank you for everybody here who has any involvement in the changes that we are experiencing now in October, in November, possibly with the biggest change happening in December, and no more quarantine requirement for fully vaccinated guests. What does it mean for us? It means the hotel has always been open. The hotel has had certain limited services for a couple of months, but we have welcomed and welcomed back quite a few, which I see in this room. Thank you for all your support. We are as well open again for meetings. We are open for international meetings very soon again. And I think one of the best parts of the good news is that we will be hosting weddings again. I think too many of our friends, family members have been left behind waiting and are all ready to tie their knot and have big events to celebrate. So the hotel here has 260 rooms. We are a beachside resort. We have all facilities that you would expect from an international hotel. We have a spa, we have 2 restaurants, we have multiple room types, ranging from deluxe rooms for conferences and meetings, where we can assist you to premium room types such as family suites, 1-bedroom suites, and our villas. So we are here to support the business community, partially from Bangkok, partially from the area and the EECC. But most importantly, with the recent changes of the bypass opening, we have grown to be very close to Bangkok. I think everybody who was traveling yesterday or today realized it is a mere 1.5-hour trip from the city center right down to a beach resort where you can relax, have open space and the rest. So I once again would like to welcome everybody to the resort. I hope that you have an enjoyable time with us. And I will be around later in the evening again to answer a few questions, maybe help you with some booking inquiries. We are here for you. Thank you very much and enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much ค่ะขอบคุณนะคะคุณเดนิส Richter นะคะผู้จัดการทั่วไปของ Rermkitkarn นะคะท่านก็ได้กล่าวต้อนรับทุกท่านนะคะแล้วท่านก็ได้อธิบายว่าท่านดีใจมากที่ท่านได้กลับมานะคะเจอในงานห้องจัดเลี้ยงนะคะที่ได้เจอคนจำนวนมากมายขนาดนี้นะคะเรียกได้ว่าเป็นหนึ่งในกิจกรรมแรกๆเลยที่มีคนมาเยอะนะคะแล้วก็ที่ผ่านมาหลังจากที่มีมาตรการหรือต่างๆเนี่ยก็ทำให้ทางโรงแรมเนี่ยถึงแม้ว่าจะเปิดตลอดเวลาก็มีการจำกัดกิจกรรมบางอย่างนะคะแล้วก็ท่านก็ดีใจที่เห็นว่าในตอนนี้เนี่ยแนวโน้มของประเทศเนี่ยดีขึ้นนะคะมีมาตรการต่างๆที่มีการลดหย่อนนะคะแล้วก็หวังเป็นอย่างยิ่งว่าจะมีนักท่องเที่ยวนะคะเพิ่มเติมเข้ามาเรื่อยๆนะคะแล้วก็โรงแรมแห่งนี้อย่างที่ทุกท่านได้เห็นนะคะว่ามีฟัซิลิตี้ทุกอย่างที่พร้อมนะคะได้ระดับมาตรฐานนานาชาตินะคะพร้อมที่จะต้อนรับทุกท่านนะคะไม่ว่าจะจัดงานหรือว่ามาพักผ่อนนะคะเพราะว่าสามารถเดินทางมาง่ายดายมากเลยจากกรุงเทพค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much. And this concludes the welcome speeches. And before we proceed with the panel discussion, we promised the press to have a final group picture in front of this particular area. So if I may ask all our speakers, the ones here seated in the first row, to please stand here for a group picture. And maybe Denis, would you like to join as well? So we can have one picture here for the photographers and the press as promised. And then we can set up the area for the panel discussion. Okay. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, let me also update you on the program for tomorrow. There are a few guests also staying here tonight and want to extend their experience here in Pattaya. Tomorrow we have organized a program to visit the local community-based tourism area called Ta Kien Tia, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And we'll going there around 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So please feel free to sign up to join us from tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Ta Kien Tia. If you would like to know more information about that, we will share that with a QR code, and we will also offer you some more insights on that one. I think we can now ask our colleagues from the hotel to set up the table and chair for our panel discussion. And in the meantime, we'll wait for our colleagues from the panel discussion, whether they're online. These are, by the way, the pictures for the Ta Kien Tia visit tomorrow. So please, if you would like to make a screenshot of the QR code, then we can also welcome you tomorrow. So we're not leaving Pattaya yet. We're only halfway the program. And as mentioned, we'll have a panel discussion followed by a networking event at 6 o'clock at the deck. I see outside it's still dry, so I think the weather gods are friendly to us as well. Okay. Very good. After we have learned, mostly from the public sector and with their welcome speeches, the importance of the EEC and what they can do, let's say, in supporting the international business community, I think there's a nice bridge to make to invite, let's say, some of the panelists to share their thoughts on what the business community and what the private sector has in store, and we can also learn from the private sector their reasoning, why they are here, what they see in the EEC, what is the future, what are the trends from various sectors, etc., etc. So we have gathered a few speakers who will form, together with myself and Stefan van der Sluis, being a moderator and also a panelist, try to make it a bit of an interactive sharing of ideas. And we will first go online to also mention that if you have any questions, the viewers on the online audience, please kindly ask them through the chat functionality, and we will be more than happy to address to any of the speakers you will hear the question you might have. The same for everybody here in this room. Please raise your hand. We will have microphones. We'll come to you, and we can ask the question to each and every panelist up to your discretion. But before we will ask our panelists to join us on stage, we actually have 4 speakers, 4 panelists, but you only see 3 chairs. That means one gentleman actually is not joining us physically, but we'll have a live connection from Eindhoven, and that's Mr. Joost Helms. And Mr. Joost Helms, you might have seen him already during the CONCAN Business Forum. He works at the EECo, which is the Eindhoven International Project Office, and he advises already for many, many years also here in Thailand about all kinds of topics, building ecosystems, but also building communities, smart city concepts, etc., etc. The list goes on. But who is better to actually ask and to explain what EECo can do, and what Joost in particular has been doing, not only here in Thailand, but also in neighboring countries. So we will have a short video first of EECo, and then we will have the live streaming with Joost Helms, giving us an update from what his organization can do, and he will do that with his presentation slides. But first we'll look at a short video. Thank you.
Welcome to Brainport Eindhoven, the well-known high-tech and innovation region in the Netherlands. Based on the legacy of Philips Electronics, we have built a world-class knowledge economy. Education and advanced high-tech industries are working together, building equipment to serve the world and solve tomorrow's problems. Our innovation ecosystem applies technology to change lives, starting from research and development and the work of the world's best scientists, using stimulation and prototyping to develop new solutions. Connecting places and people to make our cities smarter. For us, smart cities are all about connecting smart people, living in a healthy and pleasant environment, well connected and safe, day and night, 7 days a week, 365 days per year, with opportunities for everyone, no matter where you come from. We work hard and we play hard in the Brainport region Eindhoven. Let's connect.
Indeed, let's connect, Joost. We see you live here in the ballroom of the Pattaya Renaissance Hotel. I hope you can hear us as well.
Yeah, sure. I hear you loud and clear, Hans. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the interesting program so far.
Thank you very much, Joost. Then I'll give you the floor at this moment, the digital floor, and I understand you also have a few slides you would like to run through. So please take your time, and like I said, the digital time is yours.
Thank you, Hans. I will share my screen and indeed run through some slides. So I guess you all see my slides now, right?
That's correct.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Hans. Dear distinguished guests, it's an honor and pleasure to be here on your forum. Unfortunately, this time still online, but hopefully, and we're planning or aiming for this year, December, maybe we hope to see a lot of you in real life again, because we are working a lot in Asia, but it has been over 1.5 years since our last visit. So working online, it works very well. I think you all have experienced it. But as Hans also said earlier today, sometimes when you want to really get into business, when you want to make a new deal, a new step, it's better to look each other in the eyes. So hopefully that will happen soon as well. Short introduction, my name is Joost Helms. I'm one of the co-founders of the Eindhoven International Project Office. I used to be Vice Mayor of the city of Eindhoven, and besides the EECo, I also chair the Eindhoven Academy, which is an institute on successful collaboration and innovation. What is the Eindhoven International Project Office? Basically, we are an international advisory on socio-economic strategies and transformation, and our focus is on socio-economic development, innovation ecosystems, smart cities, and collaboration and governance. And of course also a piece of marketing and FDI, because as we see with all of these projects like EEC, in the end you also need the investors to join you. So you just saw a short video about Brainport Eindhoven. I will not go too deep into that because we only have limited time today. But Eindhoven is one of the European top technology regions based on the history of Philips Electronics, which literally built our city in the past. We now have a flourishing high-tech innovation ecosystem, and we are focused on basically 3 areas. We have companies building the most complex high-tech equipment in the world, not consumer equipment, but business-to-business equipment, like lithographic equipment for semiconductor industry, electron microscopes, but also, of course, the Philips medical devices like CT, MRI, etc. We also have a very strong research and innovation ecosystem and a very large and well-known design community. And the fact that our ecosystem is doing well also makes us a very interesting destination for business trips, business visits, people who like to come and have a look in our city, what's happening. So last week or 2 weeks ago, we had the ambassadors of 5 ASEAN countries, including your Thai ambassador in the Netherlands. He's in the middle with a blue tie. And we visited, for instance, the high-tech campus and the GrowWise center of Philips Signify to learn about vertical farming and urban city farming. We also had the former ambassador of Thailand in the Netherlands here. We have delegations of Thai DISPA with 15 Thai universities. And also Dr. Luxmon, it's good to see you again also today. We also hosted a visit of Dr. Luxmon and a BOI delegation to Brainport Eindhoven. So basically what we do, both in our work but also when delegations visit our region, is we show our innovation ecosystem, because that's the basis of our success. The innovation ecosystem with a strong collaborative supply chain, focusing only on the selected number of sectors and clusters, strong public and private investment in R&D, living labs, sandboxes, incubators, startups, etc. It's an open innovation ecosystem, and it's in our region. It's focused in 5 or 6 major campuses, which all have their own specific focus point, and also a lot of supportive industry around it. And our main message in any visit, but also in our work abroad, is always that the hardware of an innovation ecosystem, we always say it's the easy part. It will take a very big investment in terms of capital, of course, but to build the right buildings, campuses, industry parks, infrastructure, physical, digital, it's a big job, it's a big investment, but that's not the most complex part. The most complex part is to what we call the software. If you want to have a successful innovation ecosystem, you need to create a learning community and connect smart people. And to make sure that there's co-creation, there's exchange of ideas, because that will really fuel innovation. So our work from EECo is basically focused in Europe and Asia, but also sometimes in other regions. We have been working, for instance, for the city of Belfast to help them put up their innovation boards as well. We have a big ongoing project in Vietnam, the Dinh Dinh On my introduction slide, you could see that I'm also co-director of the Netherlands Smart City Office, large projects on socio-economic development, building a new smart city, etc. We also had the privilege to work with EEC over the last year. We were assigned to the lead consultant for the master plan of the new livable smart city within EEC. And it's a pleasure to work with EEC on this project. But as Dr. Luxmon already said in her presentation, there will be announcements next year, and so there's not too much detail I can share with you on that plan today, although I will share some of my insights and conclusions based on the work with EEC and in EEC. So first of all, we strongly believe that EEC will be a success story, and there's a lot of strong ingredients to make the Eastern Economic Corridor be successful. Not only it's a great location in the heart of ASEAN with great connectivity. You have the beach in Pattaya, where you guys are now. I'm a little bit jealous because here in Eindhoven it's cold and rainy. You have the food, the nightlife. You're very close to Bangkok, which is one of the best cities in the world, in my opinion. You already have the Eastern Seaboard Industrial Estate and the other industrial locations with a big manufacturing basis. A very strong position in the automotive industry. We've seen also in the presentation of Dr. Luxmon earlier today about the development and progress which is made in EECi and EECB. There's a good set of incentives put up, and of course a lot of infrastructure investment going on its way and also still in the pipeline. For instance, the whole upgrading of Ayuttaya Airport, the high-speed rail project, and also roads, the port expansions, etc. So those are some of the really, really good strengths of the EEC project, which we believe make it, give it a very strong basis. But well, as I already said before, infrastructure alone, the hardware is not enough. You need the hardware, but you also have to create the software. And there has been research that proved that over almost only three quarters of the innovation success depends on the social innovation and the social interaction. So that's something that deserves all of our attention. How are we going to build this ecosystem and create a real smart city in terms of a city full of smart people in a flourishing economy? Well, as the Danish architect Jan Gehl already said a long time ago, that cities are made by people. First life, then spaces, then buildings. If you want to create a successful city, you can draw a master plan and a zoning plan. That's all very good, but that alone will not make the city successful. The city will only be successful when there's people. And I also noticed this morning, after the presentation of Dr. Luxmon, the first question from the audience was about human talent. Human capital, how are you going to ensure that you can provide the right workforce? And that is the biggest challenge. It's a global challenge. All regions in the world are struggling with the same question. And it's a kind of a chicken and the egg situation, because better educated people will come if you can provide higher quality jobs. But you also have to attract new investments, and as well as talented people, you also need to have improved, a very high quality of life within these new cities. So you have to work on all three parts at the same time. That makes it complicated, but definitely not impossible. We believe, and that will be working to my conclusion, we believe that collaboration and flexibility will be key in the further development of the Eastern Economic Corridor. And there's a lot of movement in the world in terms of supply chain movements, caused by geopolitical changes, but also by, of course, the pandemic. We also know that there's a global competition between ecosystems. There's many cities, regions in the world trying to build successful ecosystems, focusing on some of the same targeted industries as Thailand does. And we also know that businesses are operating on a global scale, and they will evaluate all these opportunities if they choose to invest in a new location. So we believe one thing that's very important is that we have to connect with potential investors, with businesses who are maybe willing to move into EEC and provide an in-depth demand analysis. We have to know what are they looking for so we can build the right conditions within EEC. And the other thing is that we also know that if you want to build especially also a new smart city, it is a hell of a job. The city should be sustainable. It should be sustainable in the environmental sense, but also in an economical and social way. We also know that building a greenfield city, it's not easy, and there's no such thing as a blueprint to make a city successful. So we have to be sure that in the further development of EEC, but also in the further development of this new city, we have to involve stakeholders and develop a dynamic and flexible planning and implementation strategy. Because there's one lesson we learned in Brainport, and that's also I'd like to share with you. In the end, it's not about the strongest that will survive, it's not about the most intelligent, it's about the one who is most adaptive to change. We have been working a little bit with thoughts of Charles Darwin for this, but adaptivity is key. The world is changing, we are living in a global economy, in global competition. Everything is changing very fast. We've seen it over the last 1.5 years again. So we have to be sure that we are flexible and adaptive to this new situation. If we can manage to do that, then we can continue our journey. To all the people from the audience, I will switch up the screen because I think it's better if you guys can see me again instead of the screen. Let me see, where is it? Stop sharing. Yes, there I am again. To all the people in the audience from the business community, make sure that you stay connected with EEC. If you're not active in EEC already, stay connected and look out for the opportunities, because there are many business opportunities within the Eastern Economic Corridor. To all the people in the audience from the EEC office, Dr. Luxmon, but also the other partners in the further development of EEC, make sure that we all connect with all these stakeholders, with potential investors and businesses, and make sure that we work together and be adaptive and flexible in the further development. We will be happy to continue our engagement to support you in this, because we believe it's an exciting journey and one of the best development projects in Southeast Asia at this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Joost's contribution. Thank you, Joost, and please stay with us for some potential questions in the upcoming panel discussion. And talking about the panel discussion, I would like to ask the three panelists to come up stage and to find their seats. First would be Mr. Jagannathan. He's the Managing Director of Signify. Ladies and gentlemen, Kun Jagannathan. Mrs. Sonita Botse, the CEO of SuperNap, would also be I think it's nice for you to be in the middle, Sunita. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. And last but not least, Mr. Steven van der Sluis, CEO, Best Global Logistics, but he's wearing two hats. He's also running the International Trade Committee of Joint Foreign Chambers. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for our three panelists. We have microphones prepared for the three of you, and we will first start with a short video before I will introduce the gentleman and the lady further. Let's start with Signify, and let's show another video of Signify before Kun Jagan will be giving his part of the presentation and some slides. Signify for being here, and Kun Jagan in particular, of course, Managing Director. And we'll have some slides prepared for you as well. We would like to show them now, and you can control with the clicker the pace of the slides. Thank you again.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to do this, I have the challenge to do this virtually impossible thing. I've got maybe less than 10 minutes, and there's 3 things that I want to share with you. So I'm going to split 3 minutes each on the things that I want to leave you with. But before that, allow me to just introduce myself. My name is Jagannathan Srinivasan, and I'm the country manager for Signify. And you might wonder who is Signify. It's probably the country that the company that you better know as Philips Lighting. And the earlier speaker from Eindhoven, he mentioned a lot of innovations that are happening in the Eindhoven area. And he mentioned with the Philips legacy, that's the same 130-year of legacy that we have as a company. We're the #1 company in lighting, and I don't want to bore you with all the statistics you see on screen, but there's one thing I do want to draw your attention to. We are a carbon neutral company. We achieved that last year, and we set that out in 2015 as an objective that we wanted to achieve, and it's been a journey to get us there. Having said that, Philips is a brand, one of many brands in our company, which is Signify. And we are primarily playing in the area of lighting. You might recognize some of the other names there, with Philips being the most prominent one. But there's a reason why we've gone into this strategy, and that is because lighting has expanded to so much beyond the light bulb. We are an innovation company, and let me just summarize it when I say we spend nearly 5% of our revenues on innovation, and you might think, what's a company spending on light bulbs even today? And when I tell you that's 1 billion Thai baht spent every year minimum, then you know the scale of the innovation and the R&D that goes into this business. Now, why do we do that? Because our world is changing. You can see those trends that you will recognize: population growth, urbanization, resource challenges, as well as digitization, connectivity. These are trends that were prevailing pre-COVID, that are going to be very much relevant post-COVID. What this translates into our business is it's a greater demand for light, greater demand for energy-efficient lighting, and a greater demand for connected lighting. We have taken guidance from the UN SDGs, as they're called, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, and we've asked ourselves the question, being the world's #1 lighting company, and given the opportunity lighting has to go beyond lighting, where can we create impact? And we've identified all those areas as areas where we can create impact. But the 3 things I wanted to leave you with are the ones highlighted in green there. I'm going to talk to you about connected lighting, and particularly connected road and urban lighting. And then I'm going to talk to you about smart poles. It's a pretty exciting topic. And then I'm going to talk very briefly to introduce ultraviolet lighting, because it's very relevant for the world we live in today. Okay, so with that said, Interact is our brand of software platform for professional connected lighting. Now, what is a smart city? There are so many different definitions, so many different understanding of what a smart city is. So when I talk about smart city, it's that definition that I'm referring to. It's a smart city is a municipality that uses information and communication technologies to increase operational efficiency, share the information with the public, and improve both the quality of government services and citizen welfare. So that's basically saying when you harness technology for a purposeful benefit, that is the broadest definition of smart city that you can adopt. Now, in that context, there are different words which get the prefix of smart lighting being one of them. But allow me to talk you through what a basic architecture looks like. It's basically end devices that are like the eyes and ears that can pick up data, that can transmit data. These are the end devices, the nodes and the sensors. You need a network to establish the connectivity, and above the network, you need a software that can process this data and translate it into useful information and insight. And you need a platform when multiple verticals do the same thing, and you want to make sense of it all. That platform for us, based on a lighting vertical, is what we call Interact. Now, the global trends in lighting, there's a broad acceptance of LED lights. There is lighting that's becoming a platform for hosting many different city applications. And there is convergence of lighting and information technologies together. And there's a lot of open data access, which allows a lot of new opportunities. So I'm going to skip through some of the technicalities of how this works, but this is basically, like I said, a platform that allows you to connect lighting and, if needed, integrate that with various other verticals. But it still is very much in the area of lighting. Now, what I want to move to next is the part where it gets a little bit more exciting in terms of the benefits. Now, we have the platform Interact City, currently operational 2,000 plus cities across the world, delivering on an average 60 to 80% energy savings. That's 80% carbon emissions less as well. But you see all those other statistics there. It is an impressive way to decarbonize the world, if you will, because what we don't realize is street lighting, or lighting in general, is one of the most ubiquitous things in the world. If you take 1 square kilometer of any habitable space in the world, there's more light points than any other device or object. The exciting part that comes after that, so what's next beyond connected street lighting? And this is where I hope I can provide some information, create some awareness, and hope to see something like this being embraced in the Eastern Economic Corridor as we make progress together. Now, how often have you seen a picture like this, which seems to be a light pole overloaded with too many things that it was not intended for? Now, lighting is in every city, it is in every town, and increasingly 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi networks are beginning to clutter the landscape, if you will. Now, imagine if all of that could be something that looked like this. That's what we call a bright side smart pole. And just to demystify for some of us, what is this 5G thing? Everybody seems to be talking about it, but not too many people are exactly aware what it means. So let me try to simplify it for a layman. It's basically more radios that are closer together. So when you talk about cell towers, the range is a few kilometers or several kilometers. When you talk about 5G, it's typically radios that are narrow, shorter range. And with the power and focused narrow ranges, it's a directional beam instead of high power omnidirectional medium. So the waves are directed in a very narrow area. So this typically translates into last mile connectivity or last leg connectivity. So think of it as a hybrid network. Of course, you need the fiber network that is capable of being the backbone, that is capable of 10 plus gigabytes per second, ultra low latency. Those are all required still. It's not that with 5G these requirements go away. But when you have that, there is, this morning we heard Dr. Luxmon talk about 5G. It's mainly for business, not yet for consumer. We believe with smart poles that are basically street lights, we can bring 5G to the consumer, because typically where people are, they are meters away from a street light. If you're meters away from a street light, then you're close enough for that last bit connectivity that we're talking about. And that's what we refer to here as the wireless part. It's good enough when your Gbps requirements are low. So it's good enough to download a message, it's good enough to even download some movies, but it's not good enough for the industrial 4.0 requirements. So in that sense, with street poles, what you're having is a mini cell tower, if you will. Now, the imagery that you're seeing there is basically indicating people movement, and when people need to connect using 5G networks, if there are street lights which are basically acting as mini cell towers, the job gets done. And we've got the aesthetics. Of course, a beautiful city needs to be well designed, pleasant to the eye, and that's precisely what we also take as our core competence as guys who've been doing street lights for hundreds of years. We've got the options, we've got the advertising possibilities that comes prepackaged in a modular design, and we've got the ability to do it in any one of these visual views that you prefer, depending on the character of the city, depending on the needs of the city. Now, that's technology packed in a design of your choice. That's basically how I would like to summarize it. That's the last, that's the second one that I wanted to talk. And the third one is actually something which is very relevant for this era, which is ultraviolet lighting. So one of the sponsors here is actually an example of harnessing the UVC technology and putting it to good use. That's what we've been doing as a company for many years. What used to be a niche business is now becoming a mainstream business, thanks in a large part to the pandemic we are living through. The important thing is there is a certain wavelength of light that is harmful to life, that is harmful to pathogens, whether they be bacteria, virus, fungus, molds, protozoa, amoeba, you name it. Now, typically, almost any disease, almost any problem is caused by one of these organisms. Now, when light is dosed at the appropriate dosage, at the right wavelength, those pathogens, as we call them, are deactivated. What we have done, harnessing that technology, is to deactivate the DNA or the RNA of the organisms that cause the problem. But it's a double-edged sword. So what it does to the virus or the bacteria, it can do to human cells too. So it needs to be well designed in order to have the desired effect on the pathogens and not have undesirable harmful effects on humans. That's basically what we have done in the past 18 months or so. It was a struggle to get samples of the virus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Believe it or not, we were on the search to get samples of the SARS-CoV-2 virus so that we could get it tested and proven beyond reasonable doubt. Finally, we cooperated with the Boston School of Medicine to establish that UVC, at the right dosages, our light sources are able to deactivate this particular virus. Now, there's increasing research from all kinds of academic institutions that's confirming what we've known for a while. We have translated that into a portfolio that is aimed at different segments, whether it's hospitality, like the hotels we are in right now, restrooms, typically a place where infection is thriving, food, transportation. I mean, you can see there's almost no segment where that cannot benefit by the application of UVC, simply because what we have known about the virus today is the transmission, especially the Delta variant, is primarily airborne. And when it's airborne transmission, I'm making a bold statement now, but there is no technology that is effective against airborne transmission. So all the alcohol and the wiping of the doorknobs and the lift elevator buttons and all that, at the end of the day, let's face it, if the enemy is the Delta virus, SARS-CoV-2, and it's airborne transmission, that alcohol wiping is not helping. So the only thing that is a proven mechanism against airborne transmission is UVC. We have invested time in addressing airborne transmission with UVC. There are solutions that are targeting airborne transmissions in the form of products, in the form of entire systems, in the form of combining them with the HVAC systems in places like this to address disinfection. And we have it also for surface disinfection because some of these pathogens, maybe not the Delta variant, but other microbes, thrive on surfaces. That's what we've addressed with UVC, and I hope the world uses more of this to help us stay safe, secure, and get out of this pandemic faster than we can. That, I leave you to the next part of the program. Thank you very much, Hans. And
thank you. Thank you very much for your insights. You can keep the microphone. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for also endorsing then the colleagues of Fiber Power with the UVC device in front of us and keeping this air healthy. We'll move on. We are extremely pleased, actually, Sunita, that you can make it here, because until yesterday, I believe you were still in quarantine when you arrived back in Thailand 2 weeks ago. So you have your microphone. Hopefully it's working. Before we will start your video, you would like to also introduce yourself a little bit more. Okay.
Sawadika, good afternoon, esteemed guests, NTC members, and all other members. All other guests. My name is Sunita Botsa. I'm the CEO of SuperNet Thailand. SuperNet Thailand is the most advanced data center in the country. We are a multi-tenant, carrier-neutral, Tier 4 certified data center. We have the most advanced technologies and innovative designs. So we offer our services to businesses who requires 100% availability 100% of the time. Our data center is located in Chonburi, in WHA Industrial Estate. It's a standalone, mission-critical data center that keeps businesses running at peak performance while assuring the security, the safety, the reliability for large enterprises, cloud providers, government. For any one of you not familiar with the data center industry or our data center, I would like to show you the following video. SuperNet Thailand is the most advanced multi-tenant, carrier-neutral, Tier 4 certified data center in the region. We guarantee 100% uptime and securely house the compute, storage, infrastructure environment, and enterprise connectivity. Our innovative system and latest proven technologies, such as the heat containment platform, facilitate client growth without current and future concerns around power, cooling, space, or connectivity. SuperNet Thailand offers data center services to large companies, multinationals, government, cloud service providers, whose IT needs are mission critical for their operations. New rapid evolving technologies in the tech industry, such as hybrid cloud and edge computing, will require more capacity, density, and power to sustain high-level efficiency. We are able to support cabinet densities up to 33 kilowatt per cabinet, where no other data center in the Indochina region can accommodate such high power utilization. Year in, year out, we have been recognized by global industry experts, for example, by winning the Data Cloud Asia Awards for both Excellence in Data Center Service and the Best Data Center Location Award. The SuperNet Thailand data center is built on the increasing demand of the compute and storage of data in Asia Pacific. The regional data growth of content and application comes from the need to be close to businesses and consumers in order to improve customers' experience utilizing cloud, AI, IoT, and big data. In addition to SuperNet Thailand's continuous focus to provide 100% uptime 24/7, 365 days per year, we also focus on sustainability and being energy efficient. Our partnership with Schneider Electric enables us to achieve our goal by providing a sustainable and energy-efficient data center. Thanks to EcoStruxure, we are able to monitor the usage of the data center capacity in real time and in depth. This allows us to increase the energy efficiency and cost efficiency of our operations immensely. To prepare for future developments such as hybrid cloud, high-performance computing, the developments in the Eastern Economic Corridor, and to accommodate next-generation industries, locally and internationally, SuperNap Thailand makes use of the most advanced and innovative technologies. SuperNap Thailand's Intelligent Data Center Infrastructure Management System enables us to be ready to meet the future growth.
Thank you very much. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Without these kind of systems, we would not be using the systems we currently have in the business and in the minutes recording. Thank you, Kunsunita. On my far left, Mr. Steven van der Sluis, BGL CEO. He also has a small video of what BGL is all about, and then he will share some thoughts on the company and his involvement as the international chair of the trade committee of the JFCCT. The video of BGL, please.
Yeah, good. That was not 100% uptime, I think, this video, but nevertheless. So I'm very honored to be here for all our distinguished guests and having these fantastic panel members here. One makes everything brighter. The other ones make sure that we are connected. I'm also now understand why the BOI numbers are up, because such data center costs a lot of money to build. So thank you for that, right? Talking about thanking a few people, which hasn't happened yet, is our backup technical support. I want to give a big hand for their whole day support to make all this able to happen. So thank you very much. Right? Often forgotten, but the back office is just as the front office. Talking about logistics, so I'm since 2003 in Thailand. I've been before in China and Hong Kong, and when again, I've said it before in past meetings. When I came to Thailand, my friends in the industry said, "Oh, you're going to retire early." I said, "Why?" Because China was booming at those days, right? And they're wrong. They're totally wrong, because when I came here, there was so much opportunity. And for me, the Eastern Seaboard, at that time, it was not yet that. Let's say the EEC was not known as such, but the Eastern Seaboard, yes. I found so much interesting business. So many companies were represented here as well. So for me, I was in a candy store, going to all the different businesses in automotive and others. So very, very fascinating. Fast forward to now, the global supply chain crisis, right? The prices are higher than ever. It's very, very difficult to ship out. There's lots of reasons, and it all boils down to the COVID-19 that first decelerated and then accelerated all the global supply chain. with all the consequences. And I think we have to live with it for the next year before things get better. Probably gets a bit worse even. But we hope, we're positive that also these challenges will be overcome. Eastern Seaboard, most of the warehouses are full, and fast-moving goods for the production, raw materials. So it looks very promising for this area, and I work since 2.5 years with the number 2 in Japan in logistics. They are very fascinating with all the technology. And we have a 28,000 square meter warehouse here in Pintong. We have they have a joint venture with MK Restaurants, where they have built a cool chain warehouse second to none for all the MK Restaurant supplies, but also other frozen and cool, temperature controlled. So a lot of technology and knowledge sharing. So that gives us a lot of benefit. We're also still looking for more space and more facilities, especially in the Eastern Seaboard. So for me, I think the future is bright. With a bit of hope, we will make a 1 billion baht turnover this year, and that's not bad for a 7-year-old company. So I think I'm pretty optimistic. So let's have a few questions, because time is ticking. Hans, you may have a question or anything from the audience?
Please continue. We will ask the audience online to raise any questions in the chat. This is the opportunity, but also we'll come to this audience in the room in a few minutes. But Stefan, please feel free.
Okay, very good. So first start with the lightning bolts and the whole story behind it. Signify, I heard about it, of course, but in terms of branding, you said yourself you need to do more to make people understand how much value you bring to the market. How are you going to do this? What is your plan for Thailand, and how is for you to seek the opportunities within, especially EEC, to implement all this fantastic technology?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and to be honest, technology has been our strength for the longest decades, century even, and we've been pretty modest in terms of how we market ourselves. Let's put it like that. I think the opportunity presented with the Eastern EEC, I think the BCG abbreviation from this morning sticks to my mind, and I was just reflecting on each of those 3 initials, the B, the C, and the G. We have solutions to offer. So I think particularly when it comes to the EEC, I'm confident that by systematically following the agenda of the EEC and the philosophy with which EEC is planning the development of this area, I think there's a big opportunity for us to play a useful role. Whether it's in plant factories with agricultural lighting, whether it's shrimp, aquaculture, or whether it's digital cities, whether it's a smart city infrastructure. I think we will just follow the philosophy and the guidance of the EEC and hope to find our way to bring these innovations into the Eastern Corridor.
To the market. Fantastic, right? Absolutely. Data center. How do you end up in a data center? A little bit story there behind, because I know I'm shipping some of the construction, special construction. It really requires something else to make it safe, shock-proof and everything. How did you end up in this? I think it's the future. So I've not sit next to the cloud so many times. So this is a special occasion for me. Please tell a little bit how that ended up.
Okay, so actually the reason why we built and invested in Thailand, and specifically being located in Chonburi, was on numerous reasons. So the first one is that several years ago, I think not only us, but many of us here in this room as well, noticed that data storage, processing, and distribution was growing by consumers in high demand. And our local Thai partners also noticed that there is a high demand for a safe and secure data center. So several years ago, we established a partnership with these business leaders and like-minded visionaries. And that enabled Supernet Thailand to enter the Thai market and to bring the spotlight onto Thailand as an ideal data center location in ASEAN, and also to attract international businesses to this country. But that was one thing, the growth in all the data and everything that we are using as consumers as well as companies, of course. Secondly is we have noticed that the information technology trends in Thailand is growing as well for high demand for cloud services, absolutely. IoT, AI, we just mentioned, smart cities, digital factories, which is widespreading in every sector. I think all of us are in different sectors, so it's widespreading. So that means that creates a business for us as a data center provider. And thirdly, we have seen the growth and the rise of online social networking, which creates a lot of media storage, yep. And of course distribution to users throughout the region. So all this data, of course, is also being hosted by data centers. And then last but not least, the adoption rate of the 4G, along with the high mobile penetration in Thailand, creates also a lot of traffic. And with the upcoming 5G, more traffic, data traffic will be created, especially from IoT devices. So that means that a data center will be needed, which is capable of housing all the critical servers and confidential data. So there are multiple reasons why we actually entered in Thailand, because the growing demand. We have, I think, 2/3 of the population living in Asia, if you look at the global population. So that creates a lot of demand with all the improvements in connectivity, technology. There was definitely a need for a high-ranking data center. We are the highest-ranking data center in this region, so we are the only Tier 4 certified data center. That means that we indeed provide 100% uptime. For example, let's say you are in a mission-critical business, like a bank, right? We all use banking transactions, online banking, POS, ATM. They cannot be down, because then people will complain. The bank will have a reputation damage, but also losing a lot of revenue. So that is the reason why these kind of mission-critical industries select us as their backbone, to be their digital backbone. So yeah, I can talk in hours and hours about our business, but there are many reasons exactly why we selected Thailand. But then quickly about why we selected Chonburi. Also multiple reasons. We are close to an international network landing station that has links across Thailand. Really important, of course, for the latency and connectivity to other organizations that might have different branches and to other countries. We are also strategically located outside the flood zone, 110 meters above sea level, which is important for our business, because we are storing a lot of critical information and data, so flooding is not an option for large enterprises. Besides that, we are also in a strategic area under a planned submarine cable. That is the ultra-high broadband connectivity hub to CMLV and data exchange gateway, the One Belt, One Road project. So, and of course the top infrastructure, all the other plans that the EEC and the BOI is aiming for. We can conduct businesses with other businesses that are located in the EEC. So all in all, that was a great business opportunity for us to be here.
Brings me to the question, because I thought with the EEC presentation, decarbonization, right? So what are you doing about? Because I only know computers make a lot of heat.
Correct.
And
they generate,
and they need electricity, and electricity needs to be generated, and so on. So how are you doing that in a very nutshell?
Yes.
And then I'd like to hear from our Signify also what is the program of decarbonization and how you contribute. I saw in the presentation one or the other thing, but you can then address that. So please.
Okay, so actually we are part of an American-based company called Switch. All the data centers are running on 100% renewable energy. But besides that, this company has more than 500 patents. So many of these patents were used when we designed our data center and built our data center to be really energy efficient.
So in data centers, you call something like a PUE, power users effectiveness. The lower the number, the better. So we are the most efficient data center. This is because of our patents. Our cooling systems, for example, works in tandem with our IoT platform. So, for example, we have a lot of sensors in our data center and an environmental station built in the cooling units. So based on the ambient temperature and the temperature inside the data hall, it can automatically select what is the best cooling option for that period of time without human intervention. Also, our electrical systems are really energy efficient. Of course, we have smart lights in our data centers. Yeah. We do quite a lot as well on waste management.
Backup power.
Of course, yeah. And it is our intention by the first half of next year to procure renewable energy. So we are in the process of selecting a renewable energy provider. Similar like we did in the US, 100% renewable, but we will start here as well. So this is definitely part of our corporate social responsibility about sustainability and environmental friendly. Yes.
Excellent.
Okay. I'd like to split that answer into two parts. One, what is it that we do? And two, what is it that we enable our customers to do? So we basically said, you can't be preaching if you don't practice what you preach. So before we started preaching to the world, we said, let's make sure that in a real life business, on a large scale, it is possible to be carbon neutral. So we took stock of every single aspect of our operations, whether it's zero waste to landfill, whether it's 100% renewable energy. So, and we went about systematically addressing everything. You can see over a 10-year period, we brought down our emissions by 80%.
Wow.
And then that gives us a confidence that, yes, it can be done. It can be done on a large scale and not on a pilot basis. Now, how do we do that for our customers? If you take any setting, typically 15 to 20% of the energy usage of a building, of a city, of a space, of a hotel is consumed by lighting. And with the changes, or with simply adopting the technology that's currently available, 50 to 60% of that can be slashed down. And then if you use that in combination with intelligent controls, that comes down to about 80%. So you're talking about 16% of anybody's energy consumption being brought down overnight potentially. That's the potential behind lighting as a vertical, and we have adopted, we report it on an annual basis in our annual shareholder meeting as well, the number of lights touched. We estimate there's 86 billion light points in the world. One of the metrics we report on is how many of those light points are LEDified, as we call it, and how many of those LEDified light points are connected. We started the LEDified journey nearly a decade ago, and we know about a certain percentage of those light points are today filled with LEDs. The number of light points that are connected today is less than 1%. So there's 99% to go in order to extract the benefit of the decarbonization that's possible with lighting. And that's the journey we're on right now.
Very impressive, very impressive. And the value added with the apps is also very interesting. I see that it's not only the hardware, it's also the software that makes in the long term a difference. Yep. Okay, that's a question from my side, Hans. If there's from the audience or if there's from online, any other question for any of the panel members?
Any questions from the audience here? We have microphones. If there's a question here. Otherwise, I might have a question for you, Stefan. I think I will pop up something. Yeah. Okay, Stefan, we're talking about connectivity. You mentioned words like supply chain and the disruption in supply chain. The anti-China segment in certain parts of the world. Do we really see what we sometimes read or hear? Do we really see a shift in production and movement that ASEAN and Thailand perhaps in particular will become more important because yes, indeed, production and shifting of manufacturing will move to ASEAN or Thailand in particular. You as a logistic expert, you probably see those trends. Is that something you see and also expect for the long-term future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think 2019, when the trade war started, you could, shortly after that, we started to receive inquiries of companies that were based in South China or so elsewhere, and where their productivity and profitability was not anymore possible because of the imposed taxes in the US. So they looked for relocation. And so you see in the last few years, the momentum shifted to Southeast Asia. And Thailand has caught up a fair share of that. Of course, we know Vietnam is still the leader, but Thailand also able to pick up some significant manufacturing investors. And I think new technology is in there, different type of technology. And that's good for the employment, of course. And luckily, during the whole COVID, I've seen that the export and the manufacturing has done really well to have an uptime, 100% uptime mostly. But some factories, they did have to shut down for a short while. But yeah, there I see the shift has taken place. Will that move again because of all the costs and the delays that are happening in the global supply chain? I do think partly companies are reconsidering where they will produce. And it's more closer to home, right? There's a few words for it, but closer to home manufacturing, where it's more convenient, where they don't have maybe face some other problems, but have at least lower transportation costs and lower lead times, especially. Mm-hmm. So for Thailand, I've seen the trend, and that's coming forward for all the delays we faced. So we are now in operating a large free zone, and we've seen that overseas companies, they were not able to sell as good because the goods were not coming in time. The buyers didn't have the confidence that they could get the parts in time. So they were looking for alternatives, and Thailand is very well based. We did cost calculation in the rest of Southeast Asia, and we know, of course, of Hong Kong and other places. And Thailand is very cost efficient for the storage, for the general handling of cargo. It's very efficient. So they started to bring in their inventory in our free zone warehouse. We have an online system, so they see the inventory. They can control orders, place orders for us to ship within Southeast Asia at shorter lead times. So that's a beneficiary, and that's I think that trend will continue, because whether it's European companies, because we have European companies, we have American companies. We just signed up with a Canadian company, so they're all looking be closer to the buyers and make sure that they can deliver the parts in time. And of course, if you ship the larger volume in one time, it's cheaper than sent by it or other such. So yes, I think Thailand is well positioned.
Thank you, Stefan. One final question which came in online and also directed to you. This is also the final question, and then we move to the networking event. The enormous prices of the containers. A container from, let's say, Thailand to Rotterdam, I don't know, $12,000, $15,000, I lose track. When do you see that is shifting downwards to some whatever normal prices again? Do you have something like a crystal ball that you can enlighten us, especially exporters here in this room?
Yeah, I have a crystal ball, but it's not always working. The predictions is until end of next year. I personally hope by the mid of next year they sort out some of this congestion. It's very much happening in the UK, in the US, and ports in Asia even. And it can be disrupted just like that, because COVID came also back to Shanghai and to South China, and you see suddenly ports are closed and everything is in disarray. And at the same time also, China is closing down factories for electricity, for power usage, and that's a major disruption. I also think that is makes investors look again. But so for the pricing, unfortunately, supply and demand, and yeah, with the e-commerce that has taken place, a big jump in the last few years. The consumer buyer behavior is different, the demand is different. I foresee that stress on the supply chain will remain. But eventually, you also see companies saying, okay, I bail out. It's not anymore worth it to manufacture and ship at this moment. So mid next year, end of next year, hopefully things are back in order.
Great. It's recorded, Stefan. We'll mark your words, and next year we'll be in this room again. Let's see what happens.
Actually, this is my third panel membership in the host city, Pattaya, so it's excellent. Chonburi Pattaya have done always very well. And yeah, it's no coincidence, right? We're here, not in Bangkok, right?
Correct. Thank you very much. With this remark, I would like to ask the audience for a round of applause for our panelists. And also Joost in Eindhoven, I'm sure you are still connected with us. So thank you, Joost, for your contribution as well. This is the end. It's at my telephone 1 minute past 6, and you know us, we like to be on time. 6 o'clock, the end of this program. We would like to say thanks to all our guests here in the room, all the guests who are online. Thank you for joining us and collaborating with us. I think we already mentioned, but I would like to mention indeed the team, the technical team, and everybody here. Again, a round of applause. We're going to make a picture, Stefan, so please stay put. I would like to also then invite all of you to reconnect with our sponsors. We are also doing this to give our sponsors the platform, so please go to their booth, get their brochures, or bring them also for your friends or other people before we will proceed to the deck. The deck is actually the beach area, which is to the left, so if you continue walking to the beach, you can't miss it. That's where we'll have our mocktails and Heineken 0.0 being served. And of course, we continue the discussion and the interaction. So allow me to say on behalf of everyone who contributed to thank you again, Kun Sommawan also for translating, Kap Kun Makap, to the press, to everyone here. And please, if you are still here in Pattaya tomorrow, please join us for the visit to the local community-based tourism, Taki and Tia. I can assure you it's an interesting program and it will not bore you at all. It's really fantastic and fun. So please join us tomorrow. And I would like to ask you now for your kind invitation to join us for the networking event and also the foyer where we can also talk with the sponsors. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening and hope to see you very soon again live like this. Kap kun makap.